the Viltrox RF 85mm f1.8, and it's a beauty, to be honest. It is relatively inexpensive, super high quality from what I've actually tested it right now. I've only had this for about a week. We might as well quickly just talk about this lens right now. So Viltrox RF 85mm 1.8. I will be doing a separate video about this lens because if you guys are not familiar with the news that are going around with Canon, is the fact that they've actually stopped any third-party lenses such as Viltrox actually creating lenses for their mount. So the RF mount is currently closed and it's only available for Canon to produce their own lenses and sell their own lenses. So Viltrox, they have stopped producing this lens, and they've also stopped selling these lenses as well. So that's why you won't actually see this on, you know, many of the retail stores out there. However, I managed to actually get myself a copy. Thankfully, it still works. I was actually slightly worried the fact that it might not actually work, on the basis that Canon might actually do some weird stuff with the firmware updates that these cameras do get and stop working with third-party lenses. I've had some horror stories about that happening, but thankfully it's not all over the world. But yeah, really great lens. You know, it comes with a plastic hood. The build construction of this lens is actually all made out of metal. There's absolutely practically nothing out here other than, of course, the front element and the rear element that is any other than metal. It's actually really great. It feels fantastic. It's got some heft to it, you know. I'm not too sure if you can hear that, but it's got some heft to it. Sadly, it isn't stabilized, and of course it is not macro capability as well, such as the RF 85 F2 that has got stabilization and macro, but it's considerably more in terms of price wise. Filter thread is, I think, 72. Yes, 72. You've got a minimum focusing distance of about 80 centimeters, which of course isn't the greatest. It's about 2.6 feet, so you won't actually get that macro capability anyways, but if you've got a high resolution camera, you can just crop in anyways. It's absolutely fine. It works fantastically well with the Canon R6, which I'm actually pairing up right now. I did actually do some quick little tests. Stabilization on the camera itself works very well with this lens, and being that it's 85mm, you get this smooth sensation as opposed to more of a jerky sensation. Image quality is fantastic. Vignette is bare minimum. It does still read this lens on Lightroom as Viltrox lens, so you do actually get some metadata. Everything works as it should, no issues with that. But what I'm actually surprised about this lens is how quiet it is. I mean, it really is super quiet. It's much quieter than the Sigma Art lens that I'm actually currently filming on right now. That's the reason why I've got a lavalier as opposed to a shotgun mic, because you will actually hear it in a quiet environment. Okay, so moving over to the image quality itself. Currently, I've got this on the DJI RS3 as some sort of like a mini tripod, because I am still on holiday, and of course, that's the reason why the lighting and all that kind of stuff is not the best. However, this is the image quality coming from the Canon coming from the Viltrox RF 85mm f1.8, and as you can see right now, I have actually got this set at autofocus, and it's currently tracking my eye and of course my face at the same time as well. So this is the image quality that you could actually expect in what seems to be not the most ideal lighting conditions. I don't actually have a ceiling light other than a couple of spotlights, and as you can see, the background light. And so I'm mainly relying on the window light that's about 30 feet up there. So it isn't the best in terms of the lighting over here. So I do apologize for that. But of course, we will get over to a much more better lighting condition later on. But I just want you guys to actually focus on the image quality itself. And as you can see, I'll get closer to you. So hopefully you guys can actually see what the focusing does, because I've noticed with a couple of people, what they've said is that it kind of hunts. So when you're actually autofocusing on a subject, if you're stationary and you do like a movement like this, but you're still stationary. It kind of hunts, so I'm actually going to move out of frame. It should smoothly transition to the background, and then once I get back into frame, it should smoothly pulse back to obviously myself, me being the subject, and it should stay. I'm in the corner now, and of course I'm in that corner now. There we go, it lost me, and then I'm back. And as you can see, the autofocus works like a native. Of course, it isn't like the ultrasonic motors that the Canon L series lens actually do have on their, you know, they're much more expensive professional lenses, but this should be similar to their kit lens, and of course their prime lenses that they've actually got out, because they are stepper motors as well, as opposed to the ultrasonic, which is much more for the higher end lenses. When it is exposed correctly, absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. This lens is fantastic in that aspect. So yeah, we're actually going to try out, I will obviously this entire duration will put some sort of overlay videos and of course photos, just to show you guys the difference of the image quality itself. But it's a gorgeous lens. It doesn't, if you weren't to actually look at the Viltrox logo and anything like that, it's got this semi, you know, like a classic old school, you know, lens, but at the same time modern at the same time as well. It is a beautiful lens, I'm not going to lie to you. Of course it has got the important metal mount, and of course you can see the contact. It isn't weather sealed, so it hasn't actually got any type of weather sealing at the back, which is unfortunate, but again, for the price point, what do you expect, you know? To be fair, what I'm actually looking for in this price point is, I'm not too bothered about the build construction, I'm not too bothered about, you know, the weather sealing. All I'm concerned about, I'm not too bothered about the image stabilization, of course the macro capability on this as well. The only thing I want my camera manufacturers in this price point to actually point out and of course focus on is the utmost image quality. As long as the image quality and rendering, autofocus, all that kind of stuff is actually good, that's the most important thing. Build construction, all that kind of stuff should be not really important to yourself, especially if it comes to, okay, saving costs, like we'll take that away, we'll take this away, but we'll give you really good sharpness, really good image quality, really good autofocus. Would you buy it for less than £300? Or if you don't and you want more, you know, better build constructions, maybe focusing, maybe a control ring at the top, maybe image stabilization, you know, maybe weather sealing, then of course you're paying the big bucks for that. So I think they've definitely over exceeded my expectations about this lens. First time I've actually held onto it, I wasn't actually, you know, I was really surprised with how hefty of a lens this actually is for the price point. I was actually thinking that this was going to be plastic, which the Canon RF kit lens is. But yeah, it's really great. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I will be doing more videos about this lens and of course other equipments that I have purchased over the couple of weeks. I have definitely been missing in action when it comes to YouTube. I've just been really busy with, you know, family life, work, and of course the business at the same time as well. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you've got any questions about this Viltrox, then comment down below and of course let me know. Until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.